who is Justin Lewis? What is your story? Where would you start? And for me, when I was doing research on you, the timeless sort of picture is a great place to start with your baseball fandom and your path to baseball. So, just tell me and tell the audience who is Justin Lewis.
Yeah, no, so yeah, baseball. I have been introduced to baseball since I can remember. Like yeah, that picture you're referring to, that was my first ever major league game. I mean, obviously I don't remember. I think I was about 7 months old, but yeah, kind of, my parents had me decked out, and since my family, they're from Los Angeles, so they had me decked out in LA Dodgers gear, and I went to the game, and Tomlin sort of saw me, stuck his hand out, said, "Give me that baby, let me take a picture with him." And my parents said he was just a great guy. He took the picture, and my parents had it sent to him, and he's even put a personal message on it. And
Yeah,
I don't know. I guess that kind of just kicks it off, just saying
yeah,
like, you're just like, I was born, to like play this game or whatever.
yeah. He had a whole paragraph on that picture, bro. That's a gem, man.
Yeah,
And
yeah, it is. It
yeah,
is.
yeah. That's dope too that you made to pro baseball, and and you're in a division where if you make to the majors, you'll be seeing the Dodgers a lot. So I know your family will be
Right.
ecstatic for that. Um, that's a great way. So you come from an athletic family. You got a couple prominent athletes in your family tree. If you want to touch on that real quick, I'm cool.
Oh yeah, it was just yeah, it's like probably the big name is Richard Sherman.
Mhm.
With him and I, being cousins and all, and that's cool. That is cool. It's a great to love to watch him play play on Sundays and that kind of deal. But yeah, no, I'm both my parents were athletes. My mom, she was inducted to her college's Hall of Fame, so I definitely have a pretty athletic family background that has helped me.
Kind of adjust to pro sports and all that, and trying to succeed at the highest level. For sure, that makes sense. Um, so you're a Dodgers fan. You were a Dodgers fan growing up, I assume.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I would. That'd probably say from when I was a child, that was my team that I followed
Okay,
for the longest. Yeah, just
okay,
because, like I said, with everyone being from LA, my grandma, everyone.
yeah,
So you just kind of just get roped into
yeah,
being a fan.
yeah, definitely. Most fandoms are definitely inherited. Sadly, I can
Right.
relate.
Yeah.
Um, So you're a multi-sport athlete in high school. You had a prominent basketball career in addition to your baseball career. We can start there, or we can actually. Did you play travel ball growing up and all that?
Yeah. Played travel baseball. All the time growing up, and then played a little travel basketball, like AAU basketball as
AU.
well,
Okay.
but kind of put that on the back burner just because obviously they're both going on during the summertime, and for me at that time baseball was kind of the priority when it came to like travel sports. So but like I said, still played basketball in high school and all
Yeah,
that. And
you're a pretty good prospect from what I did my research
yeah,
on.
yeah, I was okay. Our team, we had a very good team. Won 2 state championships, and
Mhm.
that's basketball, like playing multiple sports. Just playing basketball, you learn to win, and to be able to win in all sports, it can help you in all aspects
Yeah,
of all life. Just knowing how to win, and I feel
competing.
like that
Yeah,
helped me.
yeah. That
Yeah,
competitiveness is big, especially in sport like baseball, which is so hinged on failure. It's a common thing. Everybody experiences it frequently in the sport.
right, right.
And that mental aspect of, okay, I got to get up tomorrow and go play again. I got to get my shit together. It's a big deal. So I completely understand that. So, what was the process like for you in high school? Because you got drafted your senior high school, but what was that process like as you kind of were building your resume in high school, and as you got towards as you got close to graduating, the reality of you also potentially becoming a professional baseball player. What was that like for you?
I mean, it was cool. I guess it all kind of started like that the fall of that senior year. There's a big tournament down in Jupiter, Florida, that there's always a lot of scouts, and even college coaches are down there. I remember I went down there, I threw really well, and um, I just remember a scout coming up to me, giving me his card or whatever, and said, he said you have the stuff to play professional baseball, and that was kind of the first time I heard those words, and and fast forward to when my first high school game in senior year, which started a little late because basketball kind of goes over into baseball season, but there was like 4 or 5 scouts at my game, and I was shocked, and I
They
just
had
like,
the
man, this
radar
is
guns behind
yeah,
the
and all
plates.
that. Yeah, and I thought that was awesome. It was really cool, and having some of my teammates, high school teammates, just kind of be in awe with it too. And yeah, that was cool. Having them follow me throughout the whole, my whole senior season. And we actually, in baseball our senior year, we lost in the state championship. So still having them follow it all the way, until from really in reality from like February till May. Was cool. So and when the draft rolled around, getting drafted, I know that's a blessing. And but I just didn't really, I didn't feel like I was really ready to take on the reins of being kind of on your own and being a professional baseball player. I felt like I wasn't from a maturity aspect, I wasn't ready. And then that's kind of the reason why I decided to go to Kentucky and go to school.
Okay, that's cool. That's a very good answer. That was a great segue. So you go to Kentucky. You were redshirted your freshman year, correct?
Yes.
So, take me through your career at Kentucky, from beginning to end, for you.
Yeah. So not playing. Redshirting my freshman year, it bothered me. I won't lie. It kind of stinks. You're the when you're in high school, you're the best. But when you get to college, you're playing with the best high schoolers. The best players from their high school. So everyone's good when you get to college. And yeah, so and we were a good team. So that happened. And then in my redshirt freshman year, I was in the pen, and threw really well. Got a lot of opportunities, and threw really well, and ended up being even a freshman All-American, which was a pretty cool accomplishment. And yeah, so and then just each year, I just kind of just kept working, getting better each year. And the following year after that, I was a starter, and made every start. And then I started for the next 2 years. And so it was kind of just like a building process. I know a lot of people want that instant gratification from playing from day one when you step on campus, but my path is a little different. And I still wouldn't change it because it helped me just become a better player
It
all
made you who you
around.
are.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that process. I named a couple of guys that you play with, and I want to talk about something in relation to college baseball. In terms of scholarships, we both know NCAA for baseball, they really don't offer that many scholarships. So in that aspect, you think the sport on an amateur level and even at the professional level, when it comes to talent, could benefit from offering more scholarships? Just
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like I definitely think it could definitely benefit. I know there's so much that goes into it. Like for instance, I know baseball doesn't make baseball revenue is not the same in college, not the same as football and basketball.
But it's
So
SEC baseball. I mean,
right,
come on.
yeah, no, I know. So but I mean,
It's
without
a
a
slippery
doubt,
slope, but I mean, I feel like for me personally, I feel like you would agree that investment needs to be short
yeah,
term
it starts
sacrifice of short term profits for a long term investment. Again,
right, yeah.
long term gain would be perfectly logical with the sport, but I mean, we're kind of biased in that sense and not really the ones looking at the books and stuff. And it's kind of a similar theme to with minor league baseball and how minor leaguers are really underpaid, in my opinion. And we saw last year with the pandemic, teams were hesitant to pay their minor leaguers, even after the cancelage of the season. and it's kind of a common theme in baseball right now. But I mean, for me personally, for my commentary with the sport and how I want to cover it, I'm perfectly fine with covering the good and the bad, just to give people that full picture, and just so we can have discussions and dialogue about these things that come at the expense of these people who entertain us like yourself, and who also who want to pursue it, who love the game and play it and feel like you should be rewarded for it competently. So um so you got drafted your junior year, and then you decided to go back and finish your communications degree. Um and I completely understand that you want to have something to fall back on, instead of just jumping right into Major League Baseball. I mean, right into professional baseball, you jump into minor league baseball. You have something to fall back on, and just in case anything goes wrong, or who knows what could happen. Um, what's your perspective on that, and why do you major in communications? Is it something you're kind of interested in?
With that draft, no, I just, as much as well, not going in a bunch of detail, but just didn't work out. In reality, I really, I was really excited, really drafted by Tampa Bay, and go and sign, and it's really
Negotiations kind of
no
fell
one's
apart.
fault. Yeah, I mean, it's no one's fault, but yeah, it just didn't work out, and but it just didn't work out. But I was still very happy with my decision to even go back, and like to the college. My coaches were excited about that too. So it was just one of those deals. But it all worked out, because I feel like now, with being with the Diamondbacks, it's a great organization, and I just feel like all these steps and these pieces, they're planned, and
Yeah,
so I'm not, like I said, I'm not bitter about it, or anything like that.
I understand. It all works out in the end. Sometimes life takes us unexpected places, and some things happen. But I mean, it is what it is, basically. I completely
Right.
get that. You, like you said, the Diamondbacks are a great organization. They've really done well with player development, especially on the pitching side lately. So that's really cool to see on that end. And um, your senior year, you go back your senior year. You go to Kentucky, and could you give some more insight into the draft process? Because I know what it is like for guys who were day one picks, but you were like a day two or day three pick all every year you were drafted. Um, and if I don't want you to divulge any details, you can't discuss, but um, what are your thoughts on the process, just as you went through it? I know we kind of just went over that, but could you like just what are your takeaways from it?
Yeah, I mean, it's the process. It's like a week or two leading up to the draft. There's a lot. You're talking to area scouts, or calling, asking, just asking you questions. Questions can range from what would it take for you to sign, how are you doing, all this kind of stuff. And you know and it's just, I mean, yeah, it can be a little overwhelming for people who maybe have not been through the process. But regardless, like, you're getting phone calls, you know you know from when the draft starts to right up to the time you're selected. And yeah, it's just, it's a lot. But you build a good relationship, especially with your area scouts, because those are the guys who are coming to your to interview you, before your season starts. And
Right.
the guys who kind of check in on you throughout the season.
You
So
already
you
build
kind
that
of just get to.
relationship with you and your family, and feel out who you are from makeup and stuff like that, as well as
Right, yeah. So,
seeing who
and
you are on the
yes,
field.
exactly. So yeah, you get it. So and they're always in there. They're asking questions. I think they'll ask your teammate questions about you as a person, and that kind of deal. Just trying to get a sense of the person as a whole.
Right. Right. So, well, you got drafted in 2018. You go to rookie ball after you start rookie ball. You kind of struggle, but it was a small sample size, so I mean, it is what it is. But what was that first experience of pro ball like for you?
Yeah, it was good. I came in kind of with a little injury after missing the last probably month of the college season. So, just kind of we got healthy and got ready for the year. I think I probably threw like 2 innings all during that first,
Yeah,
summer, because I threw about 70 something or 80 something innings in college that year. So, it wasn't really
yeah,
a
they kind of
necessity to
walk you
throw.
guys in that year.
Yeah,
The
I mean,
first year
yeah, there's no
college guys
real,
are drafted.
right. Yeah, there's no real necessity to go out and throw, 50 innings when because with teams are really protective of, their players, which is good.
Yeah,
D-backs are really good about that.
workload and
And so,
injuries and stuff. Yeah, and arm
yeah,
care and stuff
so,
like that too. That makes sense.
yeah, so.
So your first full year of pro ball in 2019, what was that like for you? I'm pretty sure you went through 2 levels of A ball, I think. Um, and just take me through the year from the beginning into you and kind of what you learned and what you liked and what was some things you struggled with.
It's like one thing. It's your first true sense of professional baseball. I think in the minors you play 140 games, 140 game season or something
Yeah,
like that.
like
It's a
130
long,
or 140.
it's a long, grueling season. So you're in, which is just like the majors. When they play 162 games, but you kind of get the grasp of like what it's like to get into a routine, take care of your body, understanding that is with the season, it's a marathon, not a sprint. You need to be as fresh as you are for opening days. You still need to have that same be fresh come the championship, which I was fortunate to play in the high A championship. So basically going down to the final game of the season. So that however many months that is, just being able to take care of your body, take care of your body, stay healthy, all that kind of deal. I think that's the some of the challenges in your first full season. And I think those who are able to do the things that I mentioned are the ones who have success and can have continued success year after year.
Climb that ladder to
Right.
the
Yeah.
majors. Yeah. So you're a starting pitcher. You're right-handed starting pitcher. And what was your experience going into the pandemic? Because you're probably in spring training or probably ramping up and just working out at home or something. And suddenly this happens, and now we're all just kind of stuck. What was all of 2020 like for you? Because I'm pretty sure you were eager to take those next steps in pro baseball and kind of see if you can go through that long grueling season you just talked about and do even better and maintain that success that you had, because you had like a 2 ERA throughout your first year of pro ball. I mean, your first full year of pro ball, and you were limiting walks, striking guys out. You seem like you did pretty well for yourself.
No, yeah, I appreciate it. But yeah, 2020, obviously it was a challenging year for a lot of people.
Yeah,
It's just being out in spring trainings. We were already out there for spring trainings. We probably got there mid-February, and so we were already kind of starting a little like early camp as we call it. And as I think as March rolled around, you start hearing things about COVID and all that stuff. And so when they sent us home, I think it was mid-March. You know, a lot of people were leaving the facility, and some people were you're just wondering how long you're going to be gone for. Some people were left their stuff at the facility just because we'll be back in 2 weeks or so or whatever. And yeah, after just a week after week, just kept you kind of not hearing any news. So just to stay in shape, just I kind of made a little makeshift gym in my basement to stay fresh. Was still able to like throw with I was still able to throw kind of in the backyard or honestly wherever I got a chance to throw, and just to stay ready for whenever your name's called, whenever you're called back. And in my case, we weren't called back until I think around September, when we had an instructional league
right.
uh then at the end of September. And so just still good to be able to still get out and play, not completely lose a full year, but which was good. And And I felt like it was nice to just get out and play, just be able to play and be around some of your teammates.
Right, that makes sense. So what are you most looking forward to in 2021 besides just playing baseball? Like
Yeah,
what about your game? I should say, are you looking most forward to improving or just working on?
I definitely would say just more consistency with just everything I do. Baseball is a game of consistency. The most consistent man is the one that they can count on the most. If they know what they're gonna get from you day in and day out, that just shows that they can count on you. And so I just want to be more consistent with everything I do, and that's be consistent with my breaking pitches, with my command, all that stuff, and just be able to go in, day in, day out, or every time I step on the mound, and just know like, hey, this is what we're gonna get from Justin Lewis every time he steps on the mound. And I'm also excited to get back to playing with fans in the stand. I think minor league baseball, what makes minor league baseball is the fans and the interactions with the fans, and hopefully it's at some point we can get back to that, which is something I really look forward to.
Yeah, that's yeah. I feel like minor league baseball is really undervalued for introducing baseball in smaller communities, besides kind of the big metro areas across the country. And it's a very great way to get people familiar with the young faces in baseball, because in baseball, when guys get signed internationally or get drafted, they usually don't even get opportunity to make the majors. Most of them don't even get opportunity to make majors, but the ones that do don't usually make it to the cusp of breaking in until double A or double A, triple A till 3-4 years in. It's a very long term thing. Just the nature of the sport, unless you're just extremely talented person, like even on that level, the 1% and the 1%. Because I feel like there's a stigma of minor league baseball, about it's just minor league baseball, and I feel like that's really kind of contrived. Just because I feel like you guys don't get enough credit just for being in the minor leagues itself.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I feel like guys that make it to the minor leagues and play in the minor leagues, even for a couple of years, that's the feat in itself to me. That's crazy, because professional leagues in other countries are comparable to the minor leagues, which just shows the talent level itself.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's my personal opinion. You're the one who played there. I'm pretty sure you agree and can attest to the talent that's there. And my next topic I want to go into is you're a Black starting pitcher. Kind of a bit of a rarity, I would say, although there's been an uptick in Black talent seen that's coming back into the game in the 2010s with all the programs and stuff that we've seen. But for you, being a Black baseball player and to a Black professional at that, to carry that legacy that was started with the Negro Leagues and everything like that, just by existing in those spaces and getting the opportunity. What does that mean to you? I don't know if you're big in history or not of the game. That's kind of
No,
how
I
I got
am.
into the game.
Yeah, no, I am. I am. I think the history of baseball is a huge part. Like you said, like the Negro Leagues. Just understand, the players. Like obviously you have Jackie Robinson, breaking the color barrier, but and there are other prominent African American players, from Larry Doby to even Satchel Paige. There's so much history that that needs that maybe not a lot of people know about, but just to get more people to know about the history of the Negro Leagues. And like also with, I know MLB recently they started allowing, I think with
they did
like the records.
Yeah, they added the
Yeah.
several Negro Leagues that from 1920 1948 to their official records. And I
Yeah, and that's
know
awesome.
yeah, and it was a bit overdue. It was for the 100-year anniversary, and it was long overdue in my opinion. But I feel like one aspect of the Negro Leagues that isn't really and with black and one aspect in Negro Leagues and with black baseball players in general that isn't kind of celebrated is the diversity of the African diaspora as it relates to the sport. You know, when you have guys not just Black Americans who play in Negro Leagues, but the Afro Latinos, Afro Caribbeans as well, and that's kind of carried over to baseball after integration as well, with the guys like Minnie Minoso and Andre Rogers from the Bahamas and stuff like that. And even in baseball now, you got guys from the Bahamas, Curacao, DR, Puerto Rico. They've always historically been involved in the sport, but many people don't really understand the fact that the Negro Leagues were a huge reason for the globalization of baseball and why it's so widespread across the world today. And so, you know, a uprising narrative that based around Black baseball players and not participating in the sport at the amateur level, and how right now it's at an all-time low with Black American players, and we're seeing programs like the MLB RBI programs and stuff, and Perfect Game has a program now for travel ball and stuff. And from my research, I've concluded there's a socioeconomic divide in baseball where we're seeing move from more of a working class. It's the participation of working class people is declining, and that's heavily affected the Black American community and other minority communities in America. If you could give some feedback on that, and also how it kind of relates to full circle to how the sport needs to market itself better, especially to young people like you and me. I was born in '98. I can't remember when I think you were born like '95 or '96 from what I saw when I looked into your info. How do you think the sport could market better to people like us, me and you?
Oh yeah, that's a great question. I mean, I just think with one thing is like with baseball, you know, when you think about it, baseball it's expensive to an extent, because in baseball you get to pay for a glove, a bat, you know, spikes, and and that can kind of
accumulate year by year.
accumulate over time. And obviously with basketball, in reality, you know, just you need basketball shoes, and so and it's a little more convenient. Like, for instance, I feel like everyone has basketball shoes, you know, and you know,
they're
and
a lot
so,
more accessible just based on the
a lot
infrastructure,
more,
you know.
yeah, and so, and you know that's I think that's kind of one reason why, you know, so many folks play basketball, but with baseball, how to market better. I mean, I just think it starts at an early age, because I just think baseball is one of those sports that you kind of need to play it at a young age. And don't get me wrong, people can pick it up. I know people can pick it up in high school or whatever, and play. But I just
you
think it's
need
one
to
of those sports
develop
playing
that base skill set and your
the hand-eye
knowledge of the game,
coordination, all that kind of the
young at a
knowledge of
young
the game,
age, and wanting to learn
knowing.
about the game. And I didn't mean to cut you off, but I
No,
feel
yeah, I mean, yeah, learning about the game, and there's people. I think baseball is one of those sports you learn so much from watching the game.
Yeah,
I'm learning every day watching baseball games, and I've been watching baseball game for years. But every day I feel like I'm learning something from watching the game. So just from getting out, I don't know it's just so hard, especially now with everyone. It's on their phones. You know, you can get highlights from basketball, on like Instagram or Twitter, just like that. And in baseball you can, get the home runs, or are really cool highlights, that kind of deal. But I just I don't have the right answer. I don't know how. I really wish I knew I had the answer. I think people like the pitching ninja. I think he does a really good job.
yeah. I agree.
With what he does. I think he does a phenomenal job, and I think that's an avenue to go towards, kind of marketing the game. He
Social
has
media,
players
using
on
social
all the
media.
time.
Yeah. And one
Yeah,
thing I like about Pitching Ninja is it's not like the regular stick where you just see guys focus on plays in the field and home runs and stuff. And he's really made pitching accessible for a lot of people, because
yes,
the ins and outs of pitching and the idiosyncrasies of just being a pitcher are so specialized, and and weird for people on the outside looking in. And this kind of goes into a whole thing of how to watch the game, because baseball is a very relaxed and slower paced game. And for people like us, we kind of grew up in an era where it was a lot of instant gratification, and football and basketball are very fast paced and have a lot happening, and they frequently have big events happen throughout the game too. And baseball is so different. You have to watch the game differently, than you would any other sport, just because there's so much going. It doesn't even have a clock. The sport plays itself out. It has its own pace. Each game is different from the last, and you see something different each game. And there's so many different factors. And then you have the pitch and hitter matchup. You got the handedness and that, and then you got stuff like the shift. What's the conditions of the ballpark at the moment? Is the closed roof? Is the weather nice? If it's an open roof, or if the field does have a dome. It's just different, and I feel like that's kind of become a lost art amongst our generation. Is watching the game, becoming familiar with the different components of it, in order to be able to appreciate it fully and correctly.
Yeah, I agree.
And for me with the game, I've been a casual fan of baseball most of my life, but when I got to high school, that's when my baseball fandom really took off. I grew up in Cleveland, so growing up, I got to see Cecil Bat every 5 days, and that's kind of what kept my attention. To see a black pitcher every 5 days for my team was special, and to see when I actually won a Cy Young award for my team was special, and that's kind of why I revere you guys, why I revere black pitchers, like black quarterbacks are revealed in the NFL, because I kind of see you guys as equivalents in a sense. So just with the rarity, and not just the rarity, but the excellence of the ones that I played pro baseball, go back Satchel Paige. That's actually how I got introduced to baseball. I got suspended for something in the second grade, and I had to make up an assignment. And I had to make up a history assignment, and my mom made me write a history report on Satchel Paige and who he was and stuff. And that's oddly enough, that's how I learned about racial dynamics as well as Black men in America, was in segregation in our history, and how that's transferred over to the modern era in certain ways as well, through baseball. So it's kind of come full circle for me. So who are some of your inspirations as far as players go and growing up?
So like so I wore in college, I wore 21 because I love Sammy Sosa. Growing up watching him on, we would get WGN, and whenever Cubs games were on, I was just glued to TV watching Sammy Sosa. I loved his stance. I loved his little hop after when he hit home runs. So Sammy Sosa was big. I was a huge Sammy Sosa fan. As I got older, watching more baseball, I'm trying to think. I love Derek Jeter.
I think all of us love Derek Jeter.
Right. The cat. I just think he excelled in all facets of life. He's just a great leader, a great player, and a great person. And I think that's someone who it's like I said, a lot of people probably looked up to him and were fans of him. From a pitching standpoint, when I started actually, when you start pitching after Pee Wee baseball, and people actually start pitching and like that kind of deal. So I really love Dontrelle Willis with his high leg kick. I used to have like a really high leg kick like him, and I don't know, I just love watching him.
You're like 6'7" too. I can't imagine you doing a high leg kick. You probably knock a plane out the sky or some shit.
So I really like Dontrelle Willis, and and it's over time, like Randy Johnson. It's actually really nice being able to see him at the facility.
Right,
and he works
with D-backs, right?
Right. He does work with the pitchers. He stands in on our bullpens, giving us tips. And I mean, when Randy Johnson's talking, you're all ears. Like you don't even want to finish the bullpen. You just want to listen to everything he has to say. And I think that's one thing that's really good about the Diamondbacks. There's a lot of a lot of pro guys around, like Orlando Hudson Like Luis Gonzalez. A lot of those guys are just around, and being around those guys, learning from, picking their brain, just helps. It just helps you as a player,
That
as a
culture.
player a lot. Yeah.
So as your pro career as is going to unfold, do you have any goals as far as outreach and giving back and even maintaining that coaching and stuff like that, either at the pro level in college or maybe even in the amateur levels, like Little League and stuff like that? Would you ever consider yourself going that route?
Yeah, I would definitely love to. When best ever be able to get back and coach, and that's even if that's coaching a little league team, that's coaching my kids. If whenever I have kids, coaching them, and just be able to get back to and pass on the knowledge that you learned from, like I learned from my dad when he coached me and all that, and just be able to pass down all that information. I think that's big. I think it's really important to. I think that's really important. I think the people who are just always players who've had success, Hall of Famers, all that, when they get back and they they'll teach you and give spreading their knowledge. I think that's just so beneficial. It's so helpful for the not only like you as a person, but the game as a whole. Because when you speak, when they speak, everyone's going to listen to them, and you never know what you can say or what people don't realize. Like there's
How
certain
powerful
things that
words
someone
are.
say, yeah, and something it could tell you something, and it could click for you, and that could be kind of what get you over the hump and take you that next step, that next level.
I understand. I understand that for real, and that's dope. I really see your love for the game itself, and that, and talk more about your dad coaching you, because it seems like your family has played a huge influence in you getting to this point. Just talk about that some more.
Yeah. Uh, he's always hard on me, which you don't want any other way. But he just just from however I was on five, just just being there and coaching, teaching me uh, just all the little nuances of ever with baseball, and him just always being. I just think it was really helpful for me, having him always there and helping me coach, or helping coach me, and kind of preparing me for when you get to high school. Because after high school, you actually that's kind of like your first like real coach, like real coaches, because you're actually playing under coaches who are getting paid to
Right, and then
be
you went
coaches.
to a pretty good athletic high school too, so you kind of were getting that experience firsthand.
Yeah,
So
yeah. So that, and that just it helped me in high school, college, and even now, just the discipline, the respect aspect, and all that, which I feel like has really um helped me be who I am today, for sure.
definitely. So if you could give a scouting report on yourself, as you are right now, and I feel like I'm gonna close that out. I'm gonna close the interview out with that. If you could give a scouting report of who you are on the mound right now, what would you say? And who you are as a
uh
person? If you had to write your own scouting report, what would it be, if you can answer that?
uh let's see. Let's say a guy who first, I'm an easygoing guy. I feel like I'm a good guy in the clubhouse and a good locker room guy. But then when on the mound, I'm as competitive. I want to say I'm the most competitive guy on the mound. And every time I'm on the mound, man, I'm an uncomfortable at bat, and and yeah, I'm uncomfortable at bat, and someone who just gets who gets after it with everything. I think with I think people with people, sometimes people who are like nice guys, whatever, when they get on the mound, like, oh, they're just nice. But now they just, I don't know, me, just trying to just get guys out and let people know that, like, I have this mentality that like, you're not better than me, and or I'm not going to give the hitter too much credit no matter who I'm facing, and I feel like that's helped me kind of um,
Get to the point you're at.
yeah, I feel like that's helped me a lot. And I faced a lot of good hitters from high school and college, like facing Pete Pete Alonso.
I mean, you were in the SEC. That
Jonathan
speaks for
India.
itself.
Yeah, no, I'm seeing a lot of these guys now, and starting to get called up in the show. These guys who I've played against. So it's just, and it's kind of cool. Yeah, you're playing a lot of really good, talented players, and a lot of those guys are now playing right now in the show. So
I'm pretty sure that makes you feel better too, and it's kind of validating to say, I went to war against these guys, and
yeah,
I see this, so
for
I
sure.
can do it. I did it there. I can do it here.
Yeah, for
And,
sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Justin, thank you, man. I appreciate this opportunity you gave me. Thank you for being the first individual to do the Black Professional Baseball Players Series with me. As far as interviews go, this was a huge opportunity. And this is really validating for me to have this conversation with you, and you taking your time out to do so.
Oh yeah, no problem. Patrick, I'm glad we could get this done for sure.
All right, for sure.